Live from New York, it's Ask This Engineer.
Hey everybody, and a happy round Pi Day to everyone this 314 day. It's a magical day. Everybody who loves irrational numbers. We've got an exciting...
It's irrational, it goes on forever.
Is it, yeah, sorry. What?
It's irrational and it just goes on forever.
Oh yeah, just like life. I was confused for a second. Well, we did a very exciting 4 a.m. launch as well, which we'll talk about later, which is why we're a little tired. But we're here in full force to do a Ask Engineer. It's me, Lady Ada. We're broadcasting here from the Adafruit factory. With me is Mr. Lady Ada. We also have a cartoon puppet snake as well that is joining us, as always. Got an exciting show. What's on tonight's show?
On tonight's show, the code is Pi Day, 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. It's Pi Day. We had the sale on our site all day, and we're continuing it through this evening. Sports S, an open source hardware company in New York City. No loans, no venture capital. We are an independent company that is supported by you, people out there who hopefully pick up something once in a while. Show and tell, people around the world showing, sharing their projects. Had a lot of folks on the show and tell this Pi Day. Back to mailbags and stop by. We're going to read your letters to us. Time travel, look back in the world of makers, hackers, artists, engineers, current events, and more. Made in New York City. Factory footage from Adafruit. 3D printing. Videos from Noah and Pedro. We're going to have some new products. We're catching up from last week because last week was a blizzard and there was internet issues because of weather. Answer your questions all in Discord. Don't forget to go to adafruit.it/Discord. And of course, a trivia question at the end. Well, you'll call in and win something, maybe. All that and more in Ask an Engineer.
Yay!
That's the show. Yeah.
Exciting show. We got a lot of new products. We got a lot of news and new products.
So let's start the show. Yeah. So Pi Day is the code all the way up to 11:59 p.m. We have free stuff still going on. We still have freebies. So Lady Ada, what is freebies?
I'm so glad you asked. We have 3 freebie offers right now. $99 or more, you get a free Perm Proto half-size breadboard, perfect for taking your project and making it permanent. That's the Perma and the Proto. People love these. You can never have too many. $200 or more free UPS ground shipping in the continental USA. This is high-quality, trackable shipping to the lower 48. And $299 or more, you get a free Circuit Playground Express, our all-in-one learning platform that runs CircuitPython, MakeCode, Arduino, has 10 RGB LEDs, 8 sensors, 9 capacitive touch pins, whatever. Everything's built in. It's awesome. People love it. We're constantly tweeting projects. Can never have too many of those either. So pick that up. And of course, we also get the discount code so you can save money, get free stuff, build something cool. Never a better time.
Okay. We also have some other stuff going on. If you're watching internationally, which a lot of people are, check out DHL. We have low-cost shipping. Everything's
Especially the DHL.
Yep.
People are liking it.
We now have all 50 states for postal.
Yeah.
And, of course, UPS. That's our suggestion for shipping in the U.S. Might be a couple more bucks, but you should do it because nothing's more expensive than wasting time.
Yeah, trackable shipping.
Yep. All that anxiety. Is it here yet? Is it here yet? Is it here yet?
Postal's good sometimes, and DHL for international.
Okay. And then if you're in Manhattan, we have same-day delivery before 11 a.m. If you check out and your zip code's supported, then you can get it same day. All right. Show and tell. People around the world showing and sharing their projects.
Yes, indeed.
Lady Ada, who's on the show and tell?
Okay, we kicked it off. We had a lot of people on show and tell. We kicked off with JP, John Park, from Adafruit West. He showed off a little pouch he made with some fabric he got from the store. It's our woven conductive fabric. He's been reading about, like, all sorts of spy stories, and like we're talking about how Ed Snowden, like when he would meet journalists, they would like put their phones in a microwave, but like you can't carry your microwave with you all the time. And if you're going to a protest, maybe you don't want to have your phone detected because like you can do that. People can detect if your phone's on, they can track you. So put it in this pouch, and your phone won't be trackable. So he showed off the little pouch that he made and some experiments he did. Noah and Pedro have this week's 3D Hangouts project. It's an automatic dice roller that you can use with an AT accessibility switch. Also just looks really cool. Looks a little bit like a candy dispenser. And makes a racket, which is great. Loud electronics is the best electronics. And Scott talked about 3.00 alpha circuit Python. Alpha 3, I think, is the version. Fixes some USB bugs. Check it out if you're interested in the Circuit Python bleeding edge alpha release. If you have an M4 board, if you are lucky enough to have gotten one, check it out. We have a lot going on. We're doing releases almost every week now for Alpha, which is so cool. And he's getting into synthesizers, which is a really great addiction. It never ends. You can totally do synths forever. So now we've got C. Scott and then Scott S. both into synths. So if you're named Scott somehow, make a synth. We had Trevor from Adafruit show off a project he's worked on. iOS Swift Playground books that allow you to connect to our Bluefruit board. And he made a project book that you can take our mini rover bot that we had for like AdaBox 2, make it drive around using your iOS device and Swift. So you can learn Swift and do robotics.
So Trevor will be on the show and tells and probably ask an engineer showing off some of the new iOS stuff. We have some AR stuff with Adafruit. We have our latest update for stickers, some Circuit Playground. That was the original, first time we used Circuit Playground. And then we have some updates within Swift Playgrounds, so you can control your own electronics via iOS, which is kind of hard, but now it's possible.
Yay.
Yeah.
Chris Young came by. He released a guide this week. We'll show it off and talk about it later. IoT infrared control, so Wi-Fi IR control, which is great. He uses a lot of IR to control stuff around his house. He also talked about Stephen Hawking, who passed yesterday. He has a lot of interesting and conflicting thoughts, which is good. It makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
About Stephen Hawking. And
Chris has an excellent post on our blog.
Yeah.
And not only is it insightful, but it's also funny, just like Chris
it's very
himself.
Funny.
And
then he has a longer blog post if you want to read that as well. So go to the blog.
Yeah, we'll talk about Hawking today.
Yeah.
But one of the neat things is, famous for a scientist and famous for assistive technology.
Yeah.
Kind of neat. And also for going through all the normal things of a person. Got married, got divorced, like
that's what I thought was really funny. It's true. It's like he cheated on his wife. I mean,
Absolutely.
like, that's pretty cool. It's
yeah.
like, good. You're just like a normal jerk.
Exactly. There's great stories about him. He's like, one of my only regrets is I didn't get a chance to run over like Margaret Thatcher's toes. Like just like really funny stories.
He's a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
He just has a cool voice.
Yep.
Blitz City made her first PCB for the AMG 8833 thermal breakout. So on a Raspberry Pi, so she's making a Raspberry Pi thermal camera, and her first PCB worked out. And she had like a JST connector, learning Eagle. So Blitz City is blitzing. Kitten is looking at our SMS backpack project, and she's turning it into a Bluetooth project. So she's doing some NeoPixels, she's doing some sewing, fun times. Coding Pro made some updates to the Discord bot he's working on. He's got his own server, but he's also porting it over to the Adafruit server. If you do Bang 3D, you can search Thingiverse, so you can search for words, you can search for IDs. So if you're like really into 3D printing, you can use this as a tool to help automate searches and reference links for 3D projects on Thingiverse. Jake, who works on JM Chaos, was in school and learning all sorts of stuff and got some badges, and they were AdaBot badges, which I thought was funny. So I guess Google was using the AdaBot graphic for people to learn Google skills. And also with JMK, made a Minecraft Adafruit world, which is really cool, and had all the things that we have here, like torches, switches, creepers, diamond blocks, picking places, all sorts of fun stuff. It looked great. Sophie made a Circuit Playground Express con badge with snakes that was laser cut. Looked really cool. Had like the swirling snake effect. Really neat graphic. She's kind of inspired by all the con badges from DEF CON. JMK is also working on that password keeper and got some blue tape, we determined. And Adam, 2 weeks ago, his scanning electron microscope caught on fire, which was a little sad, but he debugged it, he fixed it, he improved it, and now it's better than ever, and it's up and running. Watch out for those O-rings. They'll get you every time. And that was a show and tell.
Okay. All participants on the show and tell get an as seen on the show and tell sticker. If you're on the show and tell, email support@adafruit.com. and we will send you one. It's part of our Adafruit Live series of shows, including Jump Parks Workshop. It's coming up tomorrow. And we'll probably get back to some Desk of Lady Ada. It's been super busy, so when we're super busy, no Desk of Lady Ada, because you're just usually, sometimes there's not even time to turn on the camera while you're in Eagle, because you're just moving so fast.
I'm just doing stuff, I'm just taking care of all sorts of things. You're seeing a lot of hardware coming out. We got like 18 guides out this week.
Yep.
working on Python, working on, Raspberry Pi stuff. It's now live. So a lot of stuff happening. We'll get back to the robotics ADA, the Desco Lady ADAs that we did, and we're going to have some good time. Maybe I'll have some PCBs coming in soon. So that'll be fun. It's always fun to do PCB bring up.
All right, mailbag, pack the mailbag. We read these emails to the entire company every week at our weekly meeting called State of the Fruit. We also read them here on Ask an Engineer. This one's really long. So what I'm going to do is just kind of read an excerpt, but you should read the whole thing. I might even just summarize it. So this one is from an 8th grader, and it's called boy stuff. And this person said, the things that they were interested in, they were just told, oh, it's just boy stuff. But I'll read the last part of it, because I thought this was a pretty good excerpt from it. I changed my life around the time I found Adafruit. Most of the time, I've been thrown away trying to fit it in. I've been in a group that I liked. I didn't belong there. I felt like there was just something wrong with me, but I couldn't leave. I wanted to be like them, happy, and with all the other 5th graders, I pretended I wasn't interested in the stuff I really was. I kept my great fondness of DS and a wish for a cordless drill set, not that I had to use for a cordless drill. I found Adafruit in 7th grade and discovered Lady Ada, Adafruit's founder, who was a girl, and into all the same things as me. Now I visit YouTube every Wednesday after school, watch my new heroes talk about making things. Last year I found my best friend and started making a girls maker club. My goal has changed. It's no longer to stop loving STEM, it's to tell others that it's not just boy stuff, it's girl stuff too. Thank you, an 8th grader. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Cordless drills are cool. Those are useful.
Yeah. I think one of those things...
You don't have cables.
If young people just don't see folks like them or doing stuff that they like, it's hard sometimes. And I think that's one of the things...
if there's nobody else doing the stuff that you like, you're like, there's something wrong with me. But when you see that there's hundreds, there's hundreds of people watching right now, all of them want a cordless drill.
Yeah. And it is... we're the only longest running show and tell, electronics show now. And sometimes it's tough because we're tired and we're running a company. We just don't do this, by the way. This is like 1/1000th of our day on a Wednesday. But I realize how important it is, and I know you do too. Where if especially young people, if they don't see people sharing and doing all this stuff, it's hard to imagine it, or it's hard to even think it's possible. So, anyways, thank you, 8th grader. That keeps us going.
I hope you get your cordless drill.
Yeah. All right. So some CircuitPython code and community. A couple things coming up, and this is just part of more stuff we're doing. So we have a bunch of things going on in the world of CircuitPython and Python for microcontrollers. So do sign up for adafruitdaily.com. Because that's where we have spam-free. You have to go to a completely separate site. One of the reasons we did
you have to sign up. Yeah. We will never sign you up.
You have to go to adafruitdaily.com because we're just like, you know what? If we have a newsletter built into adafruit.com, people will say, oh, you spam me because something sounded like it one time. So you have to go to adafruitdaily.com, and that's where we have our newsletters.
You click the button.
No ads, no anything. We don't spam you. You sign up for it. Anyways, if you're interested in Python and microcontrollers, specifically CircuitPython, we're going to have a bunch of new stuff in it. So sign up.
Sign up for that newsletter. It's going to get really, really good.
I am tempted to say it's the most popular Python and microcontroller newsletters on the internet.
I think that's fair.
I don't think anyone will dispute it. Yeah. Okay, so that's coming up, so sign up for it.
Sign up.
Along with the other ones. All right, time travel. Look, the world of makers, hackers, artists, engineers. So this is a little bit of a preview. So working on a coloring book called S is for Space. I wanted to show this one. This is just one of the pages. I is for Isaac Newton. And one of the reasons I'm showing this is because Stephen Hawking just passed away. And the last physical thing he signed was one of the same document ledgers of that Isaac Newton signed to be part of, he was a professor at the same place.
University of Cambridge, I think?
Yeah, and apparently Hawking didn't get around to signing it, and that was the last document he signed. And so we do have a page in our coloring book, and this is a preview. So this is the first time we've ever shown this, and this is Hawking and Hubble, and this is our new coloring book we've done. E is for electronics, R is for robot, and S is for space. It'll be out.
You love space.
Whenever. Well, there's a lot of it.
Tons.
They're not going to run out. It's one of the few things, if you really like it, don't worry, there's plenty of it.
There's always more.
There's certain things that people like and they run out of it.
Yeah.
Space
no.
seems to be okay. So, we just wanted to, it's kind of a tribute to him because what an interesting person life. There's all the obituaries, and I think a few famous physicists wrote about his work alone. And when you look at his work, it's phenomenal. One of his, I think it was his thesis, it was at the time called like one of the most beautiful physics documents at the time. The idea that black holes aren't just black holes; they can evaporate and they can eventually explode, and they could do lots of different things. And the discovery of that, when you read how he came up with these, like, yeah, I kind of tripped over it, and it was annoying to me. But then he worked out that black holes aren't just this thing that vacuums up all the energy in the universe. It looks like they're part of recycling. Well, it looks like, you know, one of the things he said is, like, maybe you fell into a black hole, you don't just get destroyed. The matter energy of the mass energy of you continues on. Maybe that's how it works for everything. So asking really big questions and figuring out things. So you know, if you haven't read his work or read The Brief History of Time or saw the it's kind of a documentary, but it was more of a movie about him, check it out. What an interesting, like, 76 years old, and had ALS for, you know,
almost his entire life.
Yeah, half a century.
50 years.
Yeah. And just lots of humor and stories. And so you'll see a lot of things on the internet over the next couple of days. There's, of course, the Hawking's Lego.
I love this Lego set. It's so cute. Like, there's like the little rainbow padding.
Yeah. Okay. This month, Women Histories Month, we have our Women in Hardware series that we did with Hackster, with Microsoft, with Autodesk, with Qualcomm. The video is up now. Go to our YouTube channel. It's also, like, linked in all of our places. But here's something that came up. You are part of an effort with Melinda Gates spotlighting tech makers, women in technology.
Not only Melinda Gates, but also Mary Lou Jepsen.
Mary Lou Jepsen is one.
I totally dig.
Is one of the women who's profiled, and we've written about her a bunch of times too.
She's awesome.
But Melinda Gates, it's in partnership with Makers, OAuth, which runs Makers. I do check out makers.com, and this is breaking the silicon ceiling. So they came up, and this is like a big deal. This is like film crew, big deal.
Yeah, this was a big deal.
Yeah, this is a big deal. And that happened not too long ago.
It was like 6 weeks ago, right?
It was, yeah, it was. We were here, and here is the video. So we're gonna play it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So here we go. Little bit of Adafruit background and Lady Ada background that a lot of people don't know about.
I know. There's photos of me.
It's cool.
Engineering is just saying, I've got a problem, and I've got all these techniques and tools in my head. We're going to solve this problem together. Engineering is making solutions for people. I grew up in Brookline, Massachusetts, which is right outside of Boston. When I was a young girl, actually one of my favorite memories is I would watch Mr. Wizard's World with my dad. And it was awesome. There was, you know, building your own record player.
There's the needle in the amplifier.
Oh, wow. At the time, it was totally okay to set up explosives as long as you called the fire department ahead of time. Whoa! I just loved being creative, and I loved science. I loved building things, like taking things apart, understanding how they worked. I was actually having just a lot of fun because I'd been gaining all these skills in building and microcontrollers and LEDs and art and technology. And I'd post these projects online and send them to people and say, hey, here's a cool project I built. In Boston, Cambridge, and MIT, there is a strong open source culture. I was just soaking in this idea of, if you are creating new technology, new capabilities, you have to give it away. Otherwise, you're kind of being selfish. So I took that approach, which is called open source software, and applied it to the projects I was building to make open source hardware. I'd post up these projects, and I'd get a lot of emails that said, hey, you know, this project is really cool. I want to learn how to build this too, but I have to buy all these parts. Can you just sell me a kit? You know, something that's an all-in-one box, and when I open it, all the parts are in it, and then I'll be able to follow along. I was living in a condemned apartment, but eventually that actually got torn down, and then we ran out of space, and so we got another apartment in the same building, and we would shuffle storage back and forth. I was taught engineering, but you don't really know how to run a business, how to manage people, how to create a community. I think having started it when I was 25, I just had to prove everyone wrong, and I was just like, I know I can do better than everyone, and I'll show you. it's me, Lady Ada, and this is our Internet of Things box. Electronics engineering for me is my art form. What I'm trying to do is inspire people to become curious and practice using technology, learn electronics so that I can build that thing that is in my heart and make it real. At Adafruit, we share everything. I share all the plans, the schematics, the design, the files, the code. It's all online. And every week, we do show and tell. It's a live video, like hangout. Anyone with a webcam can show off what they're building. So we have people who are doing cosplay. We have people who are sewing. We have people who are mixing like clay and metal and glass with electronics to build sculptures. When somebody who glass blows shows, hey, I embedded the electronics in the glass sculpture so it lights up, I'm inspired. I'm like, that's a good idea. What kind of technology would help you achieve your goal? And then we publish that online for free. And that can inspire the next engineer in waiting. The traditional image of an engineer is being changed. Right now, the people who are building electronics in my community, they're not what people would traditionally look at as an engineer. And that's good. That means that we're getting more brains, more experience, more people that have new, exciting problems to solve. The most heartfelt moment I've had running Adafruit is we got an email from a parent, and he'd been watching the show and tell with his young daughter. The daughter turned to him and said, wow, this is so cool. Can boys be engineers too? And it was really inspiring because it's like, one down, you know?
Okie dokie. So thank you everyone at Makers. That was a
What a great video.
that was a nice video. Now I can just send out people. Oh, this is when they like, oh, what do you do? It's like here you go.
Okay.
Sometimes it's better when other people tell your story, and especially when they're filmmakers and storytellers.
Yeah, they're professionals.
Yeah, they're really good at it.
But they're good at it too. But
we're an open source hardware company. We have 1,410 guides.
Okay.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
I'd suggest just like keeping it high level and telling people to check learn.adafruit.com.
I know we put out a ton of guides. There's actually even more than this, but we added Microbit Lesson 2, 3, and 4. Those are from Simon Monk. He's doing a series of beginner guides for Microbit. Check that out. He's written multiple books, but these are free. You can read them on Learn. And all you need is a Microbit, some alligator clips, a couple of common parts, and you can do NeoPixels, buttons, use the built-in sensor, an external sensor. We have the Adafruit AM2320 sensor. That's an I2C temperature humidity sensor. It's a new product. We have a couple of cool projects from John Park. We have an AM radio Morse code pedal. You can use the Gemma as an AM transmitter for Morse code and made your own paddle, just like the DigiKey that DigiKey started with. A guide on using MCP23008, MCP23017, I2C GPIO expanders with CircuitPython. We have a phantom mouse jiggler, which is useful if either you want to prank someone or you have software where you have to just keep moving the mouse so it doesn't go to sleep. The Foul, which is a project which kind of duplicates, they're called, what's the word again? It's a rubber ducky. Yeah. It's like a fake USB key that like types commands, but you can do it with a Gemma, so it's a cool little hacker project. Chris Young's Internet of Things infrared remote, making an infrared remote that's Wi-Fi controlled. And a Noyomatic, so you turn a Gemma into a thing that beeps very rarely, but it really like drives people nuts. And there's a couple really funny projects in there, including one that makes really high-pitched tones that only teenagers can hear. David Stells did a guide about how to use a 555 timer. Nice overall guide about electronics and 555s. And then, of course, Noah and Pedro's 3D Hangouts project will have the video shortly, the automatic dice roller.
Okay. More guides coming soon, too.
Tons.
We got a lot going on.
Yeah.
All right, next up, so we have made some stuff here in the factory.
We did.
And that means we have some videos, so I'm going to play them. And it wouldn't be a main New York City without an Adafruit sunset. This is what the pick and places see outside their window.
Yeah, you can see the Freedom
when they
Tower.
go to sleep. Yeah.
That's cool. See some construction even.
New York is always under construction, at least according to outside my window.
Yeah.
All right, 3D printing. Noah and Pedro have a few videos this week. This is the dice rolling, and then we have a speed up.
Okay.
So let's play those.
Rolling bones.
Hey, what's up guys? Today we're building an automatic dice roller. The goal for this project is to allow people with disabilities to roll the dice. But really anybody can use it to play games like Yahtzee, Left, Right, Center, Dice of War, or even as a teaching tool for math. Dice fit inside a clear plastic snow globe that can twist on and off, making it easy to use. An LED arcade button makes it fun to press, but it also features a jack for AT switches, so it's built to work with other assistive tech. Behind the rotating platter is a DC motor and ball bearing. A 9-volt battery powers this circuit and allows the motor to spin whenever the button is pressed. A 3D printed wheel attached to the shaft of the motor rotates an axle under the platter. The inner ring of the ball bearing is mounted to the base while the outer ring is press fitted over the platter. I used Adafruit's buck boost power converter as a power supply to make this a portable project. You can get all the parts to build this project from Adafruit, links are in the description. I prototyped this circuit on a breadboard and used a resistor and diode to limit the voltage from the 9-volt battery. This way I can safely drive the motor and LED without giving them too much current. To house all of the electronics, I used Autodesk Fusion 360 to make a case. I designed the enclosure around all of the components so everything is precisely fitted. Having all the components modeled in 3D space allows me to design for proper clearances. The parts are designed to be snap fitted together so the assembly should be easy and straightforward. To 3D print the parts, I used an Ultimaker 3D printer. I printed these pieces using different colored PLA and sliced the parts using Cura. I documented this project as a tutorial and published it on the Adafruit Learning System. I've included a wiring diagram and source files so anyone can follow the guide to build this project. I let my 4-year-old nephew play with it and just let him figure it out on his own. He came up with some ideas that I wouldn't really have thought about. Here he's pretending it's a racetrack and has these little cars spinning around. I let him play with some D20 dice, but he really doesn't know what they're for yet. He just knows that there's numbers on them and they're different colors, so there's some opportunity here to teach with that. He had a little trouble with the globe, but once he figured it out, he's just started stuffing it with everything just to see how much he could fit. I think kids are great test subjects because they'll quickly find design flaws and just go straight to the limitations. Working on this build has inspired me to start making projects more accessible. Implementing AT jacks in your builds is a great way to start. If you find this project useful, you can share it with your community and consider subscribing for more DIY projects from Adafruit.
And of course, don't forget there's 3D Hangouts every Wednesday with Noah and Pedro, and here's that sped up video I was talking about.
Yay!
Okie dokie, if you were an AdaBox subscriber and you subscribed for like March 1st-ish, your AdaBox 07 will be shipping out in a couple weeks.
Very soon.
And then you can still sign up for AdaBox, but the next one you'd get is
8.
AdaBox 08. So
Which is going to be awesome.
Go to adabox.com, and the earlier you subscribe, the more for sure you're going to get the next one. So anyone who subscribes now, AdaBox 08, if you were a subscriber before like March 1st, you're getting 07. 07 is filled with the best stuff out of all the AdaBoxes so far.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Most projects ever.
Okay. And because we're about to do new products and we're catching up, you can go into your Adafruit account. This is the only email that we send from Adafruit account, but you have to try really hard. It's in your account, and we will send an email newsletter about new products, but only if you ask for it. So, Lydia, code's Pi Day.
Yep.
10% off an Adafruit store.
Bye.
Let's do this.
Okay. Oh, we have a whole bunch of new.
Yep, out of Blizzard last week, but now we have a Blizzard of products.
Blizzard of products.
What's this?
This is an update to our standard 1 meter HDMI cable. We now have the official Raspberry Pi HDMI cable, which looks pretty much just like the one before, but it has this really awesome embossed Raspberry Pi logo on it.
Okay.
And we thought that's kind of cool. Comes in Adafruit Black.
Okay. Next up.
This is the Toolshed coloring book. This is a JP recommendation. This is a really cool book. This author went into his granddad's shed and took out all the things and just drew them all. It's a coloring book, but just this awesome drawing style.
You like tools? You like coloring? This is for you.
Yeah, it's got a lot of cool stuff.
Next up.
There's also a matching Toolshed journal for, if you're a person who keeps a journal, a lot of people do. This one is like a pretty standard blank journal with grid ruled lines, except it also has some empty pages and also pages that are illustrated with those Toolshed drawings. They look really cute.
Grab them and put on the overhead for a second, because we got this overhead.
We do.
We call all this overhead rent. May as well get our money's worth from this overhead camera.
Hold on, give me a second. Let me focus. Okay. So this is the Toolshed journal, so it has some of these illustrations. So just like tools and drills and hammers. It has both blank pages. Here's like a little U nail. And some illustrated pages. And then it also has sections that are lighter colored. Some have grid lines. So like a big range of like pages for your journal. I kind of like it. It's a fun
Show
journal.
the coloring book.
Yeah, I will.
We'll keep moving.
And then this is the coloring book, which just has just these gorgeous, gorgeous drawings. Hold on. Zoom out. It has just amazing detailed pen drawings you can color in or just appreciate for their own beauty. Cool. Oh,
okay.
Nice lamp. I like this one's my favorite. Just love
Yeah.
that detail. So yeah, Toolshed coloring book and Toolshed journal.
All right, next up we have some filament.
We have 2 new filaments from Poto Pasta. They both look nearly identical. This one, I can't even tell the difference. One is conductive composite 3mm. So this is like a high conductivity filament. We've done a couple experiments with this kind of stuff. I think now we're carrying it in 3mm. What's cool about it is you can use it for like capacitive touch sensors. You can't put a ton of current through it, but maybe some like small LEDs, maybe a neopixel.
Go to the overhead.
You can extrude it and then make like a conductive, flexible material.
Yeah.
And this is the iron composite. This is kind of neat. It's the PLA, but it has like a rough metallic feel. It smells a little bit metallic, and it's rustable. So if you put water on it and let it oxidize, you'll get like a bit of a rusting effect, which could be neat for cosplay or props where you want it to have like an aged look. So this is a kind of a unique filament. There's the iron composite and the conductive composite. So these are both available in 2.85, aka 3mm filament, which is what the most common 3D printers are using nowadays. So we're trying to stock more 3mm.
Okay, next up.
This is a bare conductive lamp kit. This is kind of neat. It's like you get this bare conductive board, which is a little microcontroller and a bunch of conductive paint, and then you can build, I think, 3 or 4 different lamp designs that are human reactive, and they're really cool looking, and they're made like pretty much completely out of paper. So this is what you get. You get that board, which is sort of round. It's like a little bit like a Gemma, and it has white LEDs and conductive pads, a USB cable that you can use to power and program it, and a tube of electric paint from Bare Conductive. And I have a demo of this lamp because it is pretty cool looking.
Yep. Demo.
This is one of the lamps that you can build. So this one has all the conductive elements brought out here, and then as you touch them, you can make it brighter or dimmer. And then since I got it working, I'll carefully show off what's on the inside. You can see all these conductive traces go back and then paste into the little light up board. So this is like fun for like designers or people want to craft. You don't have to make the lamps that they give you. You can make your own, but they do give you out the cardboard cutouts to make it easy to build these lamps, and they all look really, really cool.
Okay. Next up.
Okay, we have the AM2320. This is an I2C sensor. It looks a lot like the DHT22 or DHT11 sensors, and it's almost like exactly the same idea. It fits into a breadboard, except instead of using a one-wire like protocol, like a one-pin protocol, it uses I2C. So this means it works with just about any microcontroller, whereas those DHT sensors were sometimes difficult to get working on new platforms because they needed like very specific pin timing, and sometimes like computers wouldn't play very nicely with them. In comparison, this sensor is low cost, does temperature humidity, does a fairly good job at it, and again is I2C compatible. Yay, a standard that everyone can agree on for the most part. So it's one of our least expensive and easiest to use I2C temperature and humidity sensors. Probably very handy.
All right, next up, wheels.
Okay, hold on, I gotta get my demo. So this is a wheel. Not just any wheel. So we've had wheels for servos, and it actually looks a lot like a servo wheel, but this is not a wheel for servo. This is a wheel for TT type motors, which are these DC plastic gearbox servos. And I have one here because you're probably like, what are those? They kind of look like this. They're not always yellow, but sorry, 1 second. They have like these yellow, they tend to have yellow bodies. There's a gearbox in here. They have a little DC motor here. And this wheel clamps on nicely. I've seen all these motors that are low cost, and we're going to try to get some for the store, but the wheels are often like not so nice. This is a really, really nice wheel. And it lets you make this motor into like a little moving robot. You can see it's nice and even, doesn't wobble too much. And just a basically good wheel, has a nice rubber tire. You can remove the tire if you want, but it's nice and grippy. And I like that it's like skinny. So if you put on a robot, your robot doesn't become like enormous. It has good grip. Comes with a little screw to attach it as well. So it's a nice TT motor wheel. We also have wheels for servos. So if you have a continuous rotation servo, find the thing that looks just like this but says for servos.
Okay, okay. Next,
WiFi. This is an update. This is the Wi-Fi 3. The update here is it's still using ESP32, still has MicroPython running on it. It gets a bump in the chip. The chip is a slightly newer revision, and it gets a ton more RAM and a ton more flash. I think it's like 4 megabytes and 8 megabytes a piece. If you've been running MicroPython and you're like, I wish I had more RAM, I wish I had more storage, this product update will do what you want.
okay, next up.
The Canon Computer Kit. This is an update as well, but it's a pretty big update. So the Canon Kit is a DIY, build your own Raspberry Pi computer kit. You get a keyboard, you get a Raspberry Pi 3, you get this lovely case. The update here is they used to provide a speaker, but now they don't. Instead, they provide like a NeoPixel ring. I can show this really quickly on the overhead.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Box with me.
It's not an official NeoPixel ring, it happens to be kind of like one.
It uses NeoPixel compatible. I mean, I don't know exactly, what chip they're using. I think it's
Yeah, it
NeoPixel because it's 4-pin. So you get this lovely little booklet, which is what they're like really well known for. And then this keyboard touchpad, the cables. It's a really nice touchpad and keyboard. I think it was like custom made for them. And then power adapter plug. And this is the new thing. So it used to come with a speaker. Now it comes with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 LED RGB ring. It's probably NeoPixel compatible. It uses, you can use their software to program it. And I guess, you know, for a speaker instead, and this pops on, you can make a little button. So you have a single button as well. And of course the Raspberry Pi computer and image, SD image. So if you want to build your own computer and like, it takes you step by step. It's like a really easy to get started with introduction to building your own computer and software. Kind of takes the Raspberry Pi and makes it even simpler and easier. And I think it's a good update. I think the NeoPixel like ring, the LED ring is a nice swap because a lot of monitors these days have speakers built in, so you don't really need a separate speaker.
There's two kind of like Pi computing platforms. There's PiTop and there's Kano. And I emailed both of them and I said, hey, here's something that we noticed. A lot of people are using Circuit Playground with these things.
Yeah.
So they get a PiTop or a Kano and then they program a Circuit Playground with it. So we made that suggestion because that would be even better, I think, one day if it, you know, had that.
Plugged into your TV. So this is the update. So this is we have it now. I believe it's the same price. It just swaps out that speaker. I think it updates a couple of the components and updates the speaker for an LED ring.
Okay.
Boom.
Next up, we have a 3D printing handbook.
We do. This is a book that was recommended by Noah and Pedro. It just kind of goes through everything you need to know about 3D printing, like in depth, with really great, beautiful photos and lots of text. So not just FDM. Do you want me to grab it and paste it?
That's what I got.
Okay. It's very technical. Goes through like different finishes, applications, material properties, how to do overhangs, how to like all the different kind of machines that you may encounter, and nice images showing you like the output capabilities. So, you know, if you're like, okay, I think I need to use 3D printing for what I'm doing, there's more than just MakerBots. There's, you know, dozens of different types. This is a metal 3D printing machine, and the different processes you can use. You may find this useful. Like, this is kind of neat. Like, you know, which process do you want to use? And there's all these different choices based on the tolerance, the material, the flexibility, the strength. So it's good for designers, engineers, people who are actually going to be not just like, you know, you want to maybe make some stuff, but you want to make stuff that you're going to be either selling or producing or using in industrial design processes. But I think also advanced makers, like people who really want to take their 3D printing to the next level, will find this book very illuminating. It's nice. I like that it isn't like a lightweight book. It has a lot of depth to it. That's not a 3D printing joke. I mean that.
Yep. Okay. Next up, Dragon Tail.
Let's start the show.
Well, we also were going to be talking about Pi 3B Plus, but this is my favorite product this week.
Yeah. So this is if you have a microbit, we've carried the microbit for a while, you've noticed that it doesn't have headers that plug into a breadboard. So we wanted to make something like the cobbler that we did for the Raspberry Pi that allowed you to use it with the breadboard. And the T-cobbler is like kind of the design we started with, but we made a couple of improvements to it to make it even better. So this is the microbit that you may know and remember, and it has this edge connector. And the edge connector also has these large pads you can use an alligator clip with, but there's all these little pads in between that you can't alligator clip to. So that's where having a really nice breakout is useful. So this breakout has an edge connector in it, you can see, and when you plug this in, it only fits one way. You can use the buttons and the LEDs and stuff, and I can, you know, program and power it. And over here, you get to see all the different GPIO, and we break out every pin available. Some pins are shared with the matrix, and they have a little square, which you might be able to see. Some have analog capability and they have a little triangle next to them, and some are shared with the buttons, that's A and B. We also give you all the power pins, so you get like, you know, maybe like 10 pins more than you would if you just use the alligator clips. And also it gives you access to the I2C pins, which you don't really get. There's like I2C pins that are available that you don't really get on the, you know, P1, P0, 1, 2, and 3. You can also do stuff like anytime you need, like, you know, 4 GPIO because you want to do SPI, or you want more analog pins. There's more analog pins available. We also added a little like corner over here, and it plugs right into the rails of the breadboard. We only do it on one side because depending on whether you have a half size or full size breadboard, it does have slightly different spacings. This way it works on both. And that way you can get your power rails, your plus and minus, also wired up without having to do any work. So it's a little bit wider, but we also already had this width from the connector, so we're like, well, why not? Like, let's just make it wide and easy to use. You can see here, that's a simple program that's just lighting up the LEDs. You can program the microbit still in CircuitPython, make code, or Arduino using our guide. This just breaks out the pin. It doesn't make any level shifting or changes. It just makes it easier to use in a breadboard. So I think it's very handy, especially if you also want to have a sturdier design. I think alligator clips, they slip a lot. And then there's a dragon on the back.
Yeah.
Thanks to Phil B. So that's the Dragon Tail. It's a new product from Adafruit.
Next up, 3 in the morning, we were awake and we were launching the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. So some of you saw it online. We do this because we love Raspberry Pi. And it's also,
as you can tell from this
that's because, yeah, we got this graphic. So there's a new Pi on the block. It's Pi 3 Model B Plus. Lady Ada, this will be in the store soon.
We
it's
have
not,
an order.
Sign up on the page right now. They will go quick. But just to get to what everyone wants to ask, what's the difference? What's new?
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
So the Raspberry Pi Model B Plus, Raspberry Pi 3 Model B Plus, adds a couple things. It's not a huge update, not like the Pi 2 to Pi 3 or the Pi 1 to Pi 2. It's the kind of like a polishing up update. So the Ethernet chipset has been changed. It used to be 100 megabit. It is now a gigabit chip, but you can only run up to 300 megabits per second. That's still 3 times faster. The Wi-Fi chipset has been updated. It now does 5 gigahertz in addition to 2.4 gigahertz. So if you have 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, your performance is better. I think the Wi-Fi performance overall is still a little bit better. The Wi-Fi chip and Bluetooth chipset is now under a tin, which means it can have FCC modular approval. This is a big deal if you're using the Raspberry Pi in a product and you want to take advantage of that wireless stuff, but you don't want to have to go through all the regulatory FCC and CE tests. You don't have to do as much testing if you can use modular approval, which you can now with the 3B Plus. The chip has been, it's the same chip, the 64-bit BCM something, something, something. It now runs at 1.4 gigahertz, so it got like a 10% speed bump, and it has a heat spreader / heat sink on top, so it can run a little bit faster without needing an external heat sink. If you want to add a heat sink, go for it, but it will run even better even without one. So that's nice. We have a really cool thermal photo as well. The GPIO haven't changed, the camera hasn't changed, the display hasn't changed, the USB ports haven't changed, the HDMI, power, and the AV jack haven't changed. Next to the GPIO port, there is 4 more pins now. Those are for PoE. So when you use Ethernet, you can use 4 extra wires to have power go over them. Now, it doesn't work just plugging in a PoE router to the Raspberry Pi. You need a PoE hat, power over Ethernet hat. It's not available quite yet. A couple of photos on the internet that the Raspberry Pi Foundation has put out. If you're a gung-ho person, you might be able to get it, working just by wiring up some module you can find. For other people, I think just wait for the hat. It'll plug in and allow you to power and run the Pi only from a single Ethernet cable. So that's pretty exciting. Yep.
So sign up on the product page. Once we get these in stock, we will ship them.
Yes.
But you have to get the email and then order it because we don't do back orders, especially for stuff like this.
That's for your safety.
There is some benchmarking, though, that you wanted to talk about. So here's some imagery. This is the Pi 3, and then this is Plus. So this is different. What's the difference between these two?
So see there on the chip, that little square that's red, you see it's like green, and then it goes quickly from green, orange, yellow, red, and then white. White means it's like 9 degrees C, which is really, really hot. You don't want, the chip will start to self-slow down a little bit when Like you'll never catch your Raspberry Pi on fire, but if it gets too hot, it will start to slow itself down on purpose to keep the thermal runaway from happening.
So Pi 3 gets hot.
So it goes up to 90C.
Like,
but if you go to the 3B plus, you'll see the chip. It's all red. It stays below 90C. It never gets white, and the heat is spread out instead of like being right on the processing. It's spread over, which means it is easier for it to dissipate that heat. Okay. So it can run much faster without a heat sink. It runs much faster without overheating.
But if there were benchmarks, I could see how much faster. Oh, here they are. Okay. So, yeah, it looks faster.
So Drystone is a good benchmark. There's a lot of benchmarks you can see. There's a big bump from the Pi 1 to the Pi 2, about twice, and then to the Pi 3, another order. And then the Pi 3B Plus, even though it doesn't become like a quad or, it hasn't upgraded the chipset to like a much bigger chipset, that thermal property, and they also tweaked some things with how they manage voltages, as well as a slight speed boost to 1.4 gigahertz. You do get better performance, maybe looks like about 10% performance increase just on raw processing power.
All right, but how fast is Python GPIO? Because
this is also important. A lot of things that a lot of times you don't get to use just plain processing power. It's also like how fast can you interface with the GPIO pins. So this is a good demonstration because it's Python, it's GPIO. Python GPIO are both kind of slow, but you can see even here that moving from the Pi 3 to the Pi 3B Plus, you get about 10% increase. You're now getting up to 300 kilohertz, which is pretty good for just bit banging through Python.
Yeah, and then Ethernet's faster. How much faster? A lot faster.
It's a lot faster. So what was keeping Ethernet from being faster before was, some of these chips don't even have Ethernet, but the ones that did, you were kind of stuck below 100 megabit because the chip that they were using was a 100 megabit chip. And everyone's like, I want gigabit Ethernet, which would have made it 10 times faster. Now, the new chip on the Pi 3B Plus is gigabit capable, but the Ethernet chip has to go through the USB 2 subsystem, which is limited, and you have to share it with all the other devices on USB 2. So it is much faster, it's, almost 3 times faster, but it's not true gigabit. So it's a gigabit chip, but you will only get about 200 to 300 megabits per second out of it. Still much, much faster than before, but just to keep people's expectations in line, it's not going to be 10 times faster.
Okay, so that's in the store. We're going to get a bunch, sell a bunch, but just keep in mind, sign up. When you get the email, order it. Wouldn't do back orders.
And all for the same price,
yeah.
$35.
Yeah, and it'll be limit one per customer for at least a while until production ramps up.
Yeah, we want to make sure everyone has a chance to get one, so we will limit it.
Okay, so let's do our new product recap. Ready?
Hold on. Okay, I'm ready. New. Fast. New. We got new. 1 meter long 1 meter long HDMI cables. These are the same HDMI cables, same length, same style, same speed, but now are Raspberry Pi branded. We have this beautiful tool shed coloring book. If you love to color in tools, if you like to look at drawings of tools, this book is for you. If you like to keep a journal, this takes images from that tool shed coloring book and gives you a lovely journal. You can write down thoughts, draw images, schematics, lovely journal. We have some conductive filament. This is a slightly flexible filament that's very conductive. Good for sensors, capacitive touch, 3 millimeter. We also have an iron PLA filament. This is rustable, so you can make iron props and designs that you can then rust for aging effects. Bare Conductive has a lamp kit. You can make your own capacitive touch and controllable lamps using only Bare Conductive paint. Really fun for designers. The AM2320 I2C temperature and humidity sensor looks just like those DHT sensors, but it has real I2C in it. This wheel is for TT motors. If you have a TT type plastic gear motor, these wheels fit very nicely. They're very slim but nice and grippy. The Wi-Fi from Famicom has an update. Now comes with much more RAM and much more flash. Still has an ESP32 running MicroPython. Just a little bit of an upgrade. The Canon computer kit from Canon is even better. Comes with a Raspberry Pi 3 case, keyboard. They've swapped the speaker for a beautiful LED ring that you can control from the software and a button. It's a nice little upgrade to the Canon kit. 3D printing handbook, everything you ever wanted to know that you didn't even know you didn't know about 3D printing. The Adafruit Dragontail for microbit gets that microbit and makes it even more capable by giving you a breakout that is breadboard friendly. It even gives you power rail connections, perfect for your microbit if you want to take it a little bit further. And sign up now for the Raspberry Pi 3 B Plus. An upgrade to the Raspberry Pi 3 gets 1.4 gigahertz speed upgrade, 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, and 300 megabit Ethernet, as well as the capability of a future PoE hat for power over Ethernet, if that's your thing.
Is it?
New.
Okie dokie. Don't forget the code is Pi Day. That's for all the stuff in the store today, Pi Day. 10% off all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or when I either remember to turn it off or pass out, then wake up and turn it off. But that's when it gets turned off.
But still, could be midnight.
It could be, yeah, it could be all sorts of time.
So use it now.
If you are looking to get some engineering questions answered, go to adafruit.it/discord. That's where we'll answer them. Let's do some questions later. Mm-hmm. All right, ask away. Someone wanted to know, does the new Pi have that cool antenna that the Pi 0W has, like the board one? You know, it's like
it does. It has a PCB strip trace antenna, which has like, these little gaps. I don't know the physics behind it, but it's pretty cool. It doesn't have a lumpy chip, but I think they've really tuned that antenna down. And allows them to reduce the cost, which is cool.
Where's 3D Hangout stream? That's on youtube.com/Adafruit, and it's every Wednesday. Will there be a guide for the Raspberry Pi 3 B Plus Power over Ethernet? Yeah, sure.
As soon as that hack comes out,
yep,
we will show how to use it.
On average, how many guides you make per week? Well, I would say max is around 10, but on average, it's like 1 or 2 every couple days.
Yeah, it's like about 3 to 4 a week is a pretty good pace.
It all depends. Like right now, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have 1,400 right now. Okay. Do you accept payments through the Google YouTube live chat? Yeah, people have done that. You can like tip and everything. It just drops into our. We don't really monetize our videos. One, because that's a game that's not worth playing, because ultimately you just end up doing stunts and like. You're not really doing educational stuff, and YouTube's struggling with that because it's all about like how can you be so shocking?
Yeah.
And so we decided let's not try to turn our YouTube channel into a revenue source. Let's make it an educational resource for people. So buy a kit or something. But if you want to do a payment through it, buy a kit instead. But you can if you want.
I think. Yeah. Then you get something physical in the mail too. You get some stickers or badges.
Let's see. Oh, someone had asked about the sheets of floors. Yeah, we don't sell them on a sheet, and we have to do a full test and everything. But I answered the post in the forums. If I'm around when we have a sheet, I'll take a photo or something.
To test them, we have to take them out of the panel.
Yeah, so this person wanted to know, though, how many are on a full sheet? You designed it, so you
I believe it's 9. It's 3 by 3.
Yeah. Okay, what kind of power over Ethernet is it? Is it 30 watts or 15.4 watt?
It depends on what the PoE hat does, which I don't know because I don't have one. I imagine it would be about 15 watts because you'd want 5 volts at about 3 amps.
Okay. Can you power the 2-segment? Can you power 2 7-segment backpack displays with one Arduino Uno?
Totally.
Okay. Someone said on Adafruit Daily, the Python newsletter, the checkbox doesn't go. You might already be signed up for it. But no, that's possible. But it should be okay. Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh whoa.
Yeah, thank you, person who just noticed that. I'm gonna send a note to our team right now. I wonder what happened that it.
That's cool.
For some reason,
not cool, but cool that we found out. Thanks for good thing we said that notice.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, we just did a recent update. Maybe it I did that. Let's see. Those are maybe most of the questions. Some people are typing, but let's see. What else is there? What do you use to host Adafruit website? Well, we have a bunch of different things. We used to be on Servant, but a lot of our stuff now is on AWS. And
yeah, we use EC2 a lot. Just to we couldn't. We tried to have it on one server, but it was not able to keep up with everybody's lovely demands on our server.
Yeah. Big photos, big graphics. Lots of traffic.
Lots of code, lots of traffic.
Lots of everything. What type of TFT displays do most portable DVD players use, and can I just buy a 40-pin driver to have it work with it?
It really depends. It might be one of the 40-pin raw displays. That's pretty common, but also might not be, and the pinout might not be standard. There's no standard for like products, so your best bet is to, if you want to make one or replace one, open it up and look and see if you can find a part number of some sort.
Okay. And let's see. That is mostly it from Discord. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody. Those are the questions. But don't forget, you can hang out adafruit.it/discord. Lots of folks in the community there. And if you have like technical questions for a product that you purchased, you can also go to forums.adafruit.com. All right, Lady Ada, let's give some away. What do you want to give away this week?
Let's give away a Toolshed journal.
Toolshed journal? Okay.
Yeah.
What are the rules?
The rules are, if you've won something before, you can't win again. Only one winner per my lifetime. So if you've ever called up Ask Engineer and won something, go make a sandwich or a cup of coffee or something.
Yeah.
The first person to call, ye old payphone, and I pick up and you answer my 3 questions. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's a project you're working on or you want to work on? Will win this wonderful Toolshed journal.
Okay. The phone lines are open. That's what you got to do.
Call this number.
Yeah. Ring, ring.
Ring, ring.
You have to translate the numbers, the letters and the numbers.
I know. Well,
That's
you
what
can make
have
it
to
too
do.
easy.
Oh, pretty fast.
All right, see if I hope they don't hang up.
Yeah, go for it.
Hello there, you've reached Ask an Engineer. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, you've reached Ask an Engineer. Congratulations, you're the winner.
Oh my god, wow.
Wow!
How about that?
How about that? What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Alex, I'm from England.
Hi, Alex from England. I think you're the first person who called from England, which is awesome. Well, congratulations for staying up or sleeping in or whatever you did to call in and get this prize. What's a project you're working on or you want to work on?
Right now I'm working on a smartwatch with a heart rate monitor for uni.
Oh, neat. Okay. Well, congratulations. We're going to send you out one of these journals that you can use to design your smartwatch. And when you finish your project, show up on Show and Tell if you can, and show off what you're building. That'll be awesome to see.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
All you have to do is email support@adafruit.com, support@adafruit.com, and say, hey, it's Alex from England, and you're the only Alex in all of England, and we will send you out. Was it product number 3?
Which one did you want to do?
3756.
The journal or the
Yeah.
phone book?
3756, got it.
Yeah, 3756. My vision is just good enough to see that, and they will hook you up.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Good night, Alex, or good morning.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yay. All right. Well, if you didn't win, one of the things you can do is pretend you won and be like, "Look, I won this great discount." But you have to use Pi Day.
And if you order enough stuff, we're going to give you some free stuff. You'll get a
Yeah.
Circuit Playground. You'll get some Promo Protos. Everybody gets something.
Okay. Well, that's our show for tonight. We're here every single week, unless something's going on, like a snowstorm or something. We have Ask an Engineer next week, 8 p.m., same thing. And then also Show and Tell next week, 7:30 p.m. These are all Eastern times. Thank you all of the Adafruit team members that are here in Adafruit physically, all of our remote team members that are here virtually and around the world, and of course, the Adafruit community that keeps this going every single week, and all the participants on the Show and Tell, and anyone who ever shared anything and was willing to take that risk of putting a little piece of themselves out there. This one's for you.
It's hard.
It is hard, and I think that
Doesn't get that much easier.
I think that 8th grader, read the whole mailbag.
It's a good one.
That 8th grader is all of us.
Yeah.
You know, you never know what you can do until you maybe see someone who either broke a ceiling, or someone who led the way, or someone who just decided, hey, this is a cool thing to share, and then eventually all of us can come together and find a place where a lot of things make sense. This makes sense to do electronics. This makes sense to do costuming and cosplay. This makes sense for all
This
this
is totally
stuff.
normal and everything. And
This all makes sense.
I wish I had this when I was in 8th grade. That would have been so awesome.
And then we even saw a photo of a little version of you.
Yeah.
Miniature Lady Ada.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think I had one other video that I wanted to try to get in. This is the cosplay video that I didn't get a chance to put into the show in time.
Yeah.
But I want to just do it right now, so I'm just gonna do it. So here it is. Isn't that cool? This is using NeoPixels, and this is from
Kamui Cosplay.
Yeah.
We sell her books.
Yeah, isn't this neat? So this is like tweeted at. There was an ad on it, and we saw some of the building of it. But anyways, this is so cool. Good work.
You're saying how it's not cosplay anymore. It's like cos. It's just cos. It's
Oh no!
like,
Now it's just like congratulations. You're making professional.
You are the character now.
You're making better costumes than most of the crummy science fiction I watched.
Yeah, it's true.
So, anyways, so that's our show for the night. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Here's your moment of Zener, and then we'll play some music that's curated by the team here. Thanks, Tom and Jamie. And we have like a little music-y video thing and who made it and what the song is.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right. Here's your moment of Zener. Bye, everybody.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Yes, that's Monster Hunter, by the way.
Monster.
That
It's a Zenogre or something.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Never played it.